Hi, welcome to episode 162 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, and that's where every episode's show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea, where I sell my hand-spun yarns. And we have a Ravelry group called The Corner of Knit and Tea. Hi, how are you? It is Sunday, December 10th, I believe. Yeah, 10th. And it is mid-afternoon. I am mostly hanging out at home today wearing my comfy sweater. This is the Climbing Vines pullover. It was from Interweave Knits somewhere back around 2007, and I knit it for the 2010 Winter Olympics. And it keeps me warm. It is kind of worn and a little shabby looking, but it is perfect for around the house. So that is what I am wearing today. I am mostly just hanging out. It has been bitterly cold here this week, although we have not had snow. I know several other areas and unexpected areas of the US have. It got up to the 50s today, so my husband went out to play disc golf with his friends. And that has meant that I've been at home, and I have had a lovely day so far. I've done a little bit of knitting. I might have squeezed in a nap. And now I have some knitting and spinning that I'd like to get done before the end of the day. And I still have laundry and groceries, so I have lots to do. But I thought I would take a little time to sit with you. So I hope that you have had a good week. Nothing super special here. We are in sort of the breakneck pace lead up to the end of the year. It makes work a little busy. It means there are lots of parties and extra food, but nothing super special. And like I said, the weekend has been nice and quiet, which is just the way I like it. So let's start with the tea. Today I am testing a new tea. It is from Adagio Teas. It's a sample. It is gingerbread. And I always like, I love Adagio because you can order samples for just a couple dollars, and it will get you anywhere between 5 and 10 cups of tea, which is great to see if you like a tea. And I also don't feel bad that if I don't like it, I've only spent a couple dollars. I always like trying some of their holiday blends. This one is gingerbread. It is black tea, natural gingerbread flavor, cinnamon bark, orange peels, and ginger root. And I will say that the one thing I noticed when I opened it was that it smelled like sort of the molasses in gingerbread. So I love holiday tea time because it gets cold, and then they do all the spicy teas and the ones that taste like spice cakes and desserts, and I really dig those. I know some people don't, but so I'm always excited to try teas. And I am drinking today in my Hershey's mug. It is this big oversized mug that I got when we went to the Hershey factory in Pennsylvania. Ooh, that's really good. It's a black tea, and then I get some of the cinnamon, and I get a little bit of the ginger flavor. And I think maybe a little bit of the molasses and orange too. I guess I get a little bit of everything, but it's good. It tastes like warm gingerbread, and I can totally be down with that. One of these days I should make gingerbread because I do love it. I've just never made it before. So let's get into the knits. I don't have anything finished to show you. I'm working on some bigger projects and things, so I will show you my progress. First of all, my Advent blanket. This, I will say I'm knitting it probably more than I should because I have other things I should knit, but this is what is bringing me joy this Christmas season. I am having fun opening the Advent calendar and seeing what's in there and trying to identify the colorways. And I'm also having fun adding colors to the blanket. I will say that I've been playing a little bit with the color order because I'm trying to get sort of a maximum contrast in this blanket. To recap, I'm knitting this in the Opal Advent calendar yarns, plus I also have some balls of Opal yarn left over from socks that I've knit. So those will be making an appearance in here. I'm using the 10 stitch twist blanket by Frankie Brown, which is a circular kind of modular looking blanket. And I am using my Signatures US 2.5 millimeter, that's US excuse me, 1.5. And so I have made progress this week. I am working on adding my 6th color. Yes, it is riotous, it is crazy colors, and it is exactly as I imagined it. So the very first one in the center was a mini that somebody kindly sent me when we did a mini swap. It is from 2015. The remainder of the colorways are from this year, and then I am just starting to add in, this is leftover. It is the Opal Harry Potter colorway in the Tonks colorway, and it is leftover from a pair of socks that I knit, and I decided I wanted to put that in the blanket as well. It is less than the Opal mini skeins are 15 grams, and I think I have like 11 or 12 grams of the Harry Potter sock, so it will be a little bit less, and then we'll get back to adding the other things. But this is crazy, and I absolutely love it. It's making me happy. I'm enjoying knitting on it each night. I'm letting myself knit on it for an hour or so before bed, and working on my other projects during the day and at other times. So that is what I am doing. I highly recommend the pattern. It's the first part, the center circle, is probably the most difficult part, and then once you get in the groove, it's pretty much the same thing. It changes slightly as you add more rounds, but it's the same general idea, so you just keep going. And so I'm super pleased with it. Like I said, it is riotous color. It's going to be crazy. It's probably going to go in the back of this couch along with my other one. But that is what I'm working on and what's making me happy. I am working on this as my Grinchmas project. For those of you who listen to the Knit More Girls podcast, that's Jasmine and Gigi, every year they do a Grinchmas December, which is in December you should knit and work on things that bring you joy. And the only rule is that it cannot be Christmas gifts for this Christmas season. So if you're working on something as a gift for someone that brings you joy and it's not a Christmas gift for this year, that's fine. But it should be something that brings you joy. And normally I'm working on Christmas gifts, so I end up working through December on them, so I can't really participate in Grinchmas because you're not supposed to do that. This year I finished everything I needed to beforehand, and so I am working on my Advent calendar blanket because I love it. And I will not finish it by the end of December because today is the 10th and I'm on the 6th color, so as you might notice, I'm not adding colors as quickly as I need to be, but I'm working on other projects. So if this lasts me partway through January as well, that's fine, and I don't know how big it will get really with all of the Advent calendar ones, and whether or not I will want to buy some other things to make it even bigger at the end. And then I'm sort of pondering the outer edge. I don't know if I'm going to do like an I-cord to finish it off, maybe in a solid color. I just don't know. I haven't gotten there yet. But I'm working on it, and I will continue to bring it back and show you for the next month or so. Since I got kind of excited about working on blankets, I also picked up my mom's blanket again. And as you remember, my mom saw my blanket and decided that she needed to have one. So just as a reminder, the pattern that I am using is it is called the Memory Blanket. It was by Georgie Nicholson, and she, I believe, got married and changed her last name, so I can't remember what it is, what her new name is. As a reminder, I'm doing mine on US 5s. I am using worsted weight or fingering doubled for my squares, and I'm doing 40 stitches and then 2 decreases, so I have a line through the center. Mitered squares, and this week I got up to 49 finished squares. So it is now 7 by 7. I'm going for 11 by 11. And what's keeping me going is that when I next bring it back to show you, which I'm probably just going to do as I hit the squares, is it'll be 64 squares, and that will be more than halfway done. So this is what I've got. I'm not even going to tell you what colors I put in here because, to be honest, I don't know all of them because I have been doing some swapping. So you have seen the bottom corner here, but I've added a bunch more, and the most special one is this little pink square because Roxy helped me knit that for my mom. So I'm gonna mark it in some way so that my mom will know that that was the one that she helped with. And the only problem that I have found so far is that my blanket is quite bright. It had all kinds of different colors in it, and I don't have as many variegated colors, and I don't have as many brights. So my mom's is turning out a little bit darker in general. I mean, I guess there are some brights in here, but it's turning out a little bit darker and with a way more solids. So I'm going to have to dig into my stash and see if I can find a few more variegateds. And actually, I'm probably going to go ahead and wind some balls of sock yarn up and just use them for this blanket, even though I haven't knit with them yet. Usually, I don't like to do that, but I'm finding that I have so many solids for this one and not enough, not nearly enough variegateds, and so I really feel like I should add some more. So that is my progress so far, and I won't bring it back till I'm at 64, but I am excited. All the ends are woven in except for the ones at the edges. I find that I like to weave in my ends once a block is completely surrounded. So as you'll see, all of these are done. It is just the bottom row and the side row where I'm building on that still have all of the ends sticking out. So that is my second project in progress. I don't know when I'll finish this one. I am gonna go out to LA in February. If I could finish it by then, I would totally take it with me. If not, I'll probably mail it to them for their anniversary, which is midsummer next summer. And otherwise, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep working and we'll see what happens. So that is the second blanket. The third project is the project that I should be working on, and I did get fairly far this week. This is a cowl that I am knitting in Brown Sheep Prairie Spun DK. I showed you that last week, and I am knitting a prairie grass cowl, which I am knitting the Eternity Loop, which is kind of a 7 or 8 inch wide cowl, long. It'll be able to be doubled, maybe tripled. And the pattern suggests that I knit it to approximately 56 inches and then graft the ends together. And I finished the first ball this week, so I did knit a fair amount this week. And I am at 36 inches, which means I don't have to knit the full second ball, which is exciting. So I'm hoping to finish this by midweek, block it, and be able to show you next week. Just to show you, this is a beautiful cabled pattern. And it is very simple. It is a 4-row repeat, and it's got this nice cabled edging as well on each side. It is curling right now. I'm hoping that when I block it, everything will lay flat. Prairie Spun DK is 100% wool, so it should behave really nicely after blocking. I am enjoying, excuse me, knitting with this. It is more of a workhorse yarn. So it is not super rough. It is definitely, a little bit more rustic. I would put it probably feels a little bit like a Cascade 220. So not super soft, but definitely not rough against the skin. And I am really, really enjoying it. I would really think I'd like to knit a sweater, like a workhorse sweater out of it. Maybe something with a little bit of patterning. It does have a really nice stitch definition, as you can see. And it held up to some ripping because I had to rip the first part back last week and start again. The pattern suggested size 7 needles, and I went up to 8, and I am liking that now. My big problem with the 7 needles was that the fabric was super stiff, and it is not anymore. So I hope to finish this week, and I will have a full review of the pattern and yarn next week on the podcast, I hope. I have another review knit that I should do this month, and I usually like to separate the review knits in podcasts so that every review gets its own time. So my hope is that I will finish this one next week and then be able to start the one after that and give that a couple weeks on its own as well. So that's what I'm working on. And like I said, I hope I'll finish that this week and be able to come back to you. Other things that I'm doing this week, my husband's boss is expecting a baby, and I am knitting hats for the boys. I'm partway through the first one. I didn't bother bringing it because it'll be more fun when I have both of them and the pom-poms and everything on. But I'm knitting, their older boy is about 3 now, and then their younger boy, obviously, it will be born in January, I think. So I am knitting them hats out of the Kansas City Chiefs colorway, because parents are huge KC Chiefs fans. So I hope that will be really cute. I'm using the yellow and red. So, and I'm just using Cascade 220 Superwash for that. So I'm hoping to finish those this coming week too. And then I have a couple more hats that I need to do before the end of the year. And like I said, one more test knit and of course, or review knit, and then plenty of blanket and other projects. So let me take a sip of tea. As you can hear, I'm feeling much better. I appreciated all the good wishes from you last week. I actually felt better when I recorded. I just sounded terrible. I'm still a little congested, but not bad. So as you can tell, I'm far better than I was, but I'm going to take a sip of tea. And then let's move on to spinning. Last week I showed you a really pretty braid. It was chocolate browns and tans and kind of a poppy red and burgundy. It was called Dot, and it was merino cashmere. It was the October colorway in Southern Cross Fibers Club. And I had a spinning Sunday last weekend, and so I spun out more than half the singles last Sunday, right after I talked to you. And then I finished it this week, and I plied it last night, and it came out a little bit darker than I thought it would overall. But it's this nice dark chocolate brown with pops of that poppy red and burgundy, and then little bits of the tan in between. It totally reminds me of a holiday colorway. My guess is it's about 325 yards of a sport 2-fingering weight. It was a little on the light side. It was 3.7 ounces. And it's a 2-ply, and it is 80% merino, 20% cashmere. So I'm going to give that a wash. I just pulled it off the wheel this morning, and I skeined it pretty tightly because it has not been washed yet, so I didn't want it like all over the place. So I will wash that and then take some pictures, and that will be going up in the shop. So if that appeals to you, that will be there shortly. But I'm very pleased with how this came out, and I'm even more pleased that I got a full spin done this week. I'm going to try for a couple more before the end of the year, and actually I checked and I am a little bit over 12 pounds. So if I do 2 or 3 more spins for the year, I actually probably could end up at 13 pounds for the year, which would be great. So we're going to go for it. It's a goal. Next up, this was a Hello Yarn Club, and it was from just a little bit ago. The camera's blowing it out, but it is browns and oranges and peaches and pinks, and there are these just pops of bright pink, which is very not Adrian, but you can see it like right there. That is bright pink, and I am super excited. This is called Put a Little Cream on It, something like that. I don't know what I did with the bag, but a little cream in it or a little cream on it. I think it's a little cream in it. And it is Falkland. So it is, and it is pretty darn soft. Falkland is a little bit crisper than, it is a variant of merino. It is a little bit crisper than merino, but it is, I generally like Falkland, and this seems like a softer one than sometimes Adrian uses. But it is one of my favorites to spin. It is perfect for new spinners because it drafts really well. Anyway, so that is Falkland, and put some cream on it, in it. And I am going to try and spin that one this week, and that will also be for the shop. So if these are your colors, I hate that it's blowing out the camera. There are small sections of white in there as well. So this should be nice and fall colored with that little pop of pink. So if that's something you enjoy, keep an eye out for it. It will be on Instagram this week and hopefully in the shop. So that is what I'm doing. I hope that you had a good week and that you're enjoying crafting. If you are in the thick of Christmas present knitting, please remember that I have the gift along going in the Ravelry group. That is Craft something that is a present for someone else between November 1st and December 31st. Whips were okay as long as you did some portion of the crafting this month. And for every gift that you finish, you can make a finished object post in the thread, and I will draw for a few prizes from Random Number Generator. I will pull those out and bring those to the podcast next week. I have a couple things that I'm thinking of. One is 2 skeins of yarn that I think are DK weight-ish, and they have some alpaca in it. Beautiful purples. And would make a really great warm and cozy cowl this season. And I haven't decided on the other prizes yet, but I'm thinking I'll probably have 2 or 3 prizes. So there aren't a ton of entries yet, so get while the getting's good. Get over to the thread, post your stuff. It's an easy way to be put into a drawing for stuff that you're knitting anyway. Or crafting. I should say crafting. I accept sewing, weaving, spinning, pretty much most crafts over there, knitting, crocheting, you know, all the crafts. So post stuff over there if you are working on things. So I hope that you have a wonderful week ahead, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. And until I see you again, I will say happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.